19th, 2020. This is a teleconference meeting today. We're meeting remotely. I would ask that we forego saying the Pledge of Allegiance and move to the roll call. Madam Clerk to the board, would you conduct the roll call, please?
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner Prince,
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith,
Present.
and Clerk to the board Kelly Camper present.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. We will go through audience introductions. We'll try not to walk over each other, so certainly you can take your time. If you would enunciate clearly so Kelly can have a record of who is on the call today, I would appreciate that. I will ask if anybody has joined during the conference call while we're doing audience introductions. So anyone can begin.
Meredith Nichols, Emergency Manager for Custer County.
Tom Shepard, representing the Hospital District Board.
Charles Bogle, Economic Development.
Jackie Bubis, Sentinel.
Dale Mullen, Economic Development.
Cindy Flower, Chief APR Coordinator.
Is there anyone else on the call?
Yeah, this is Brian Lockhart and Rusty Christensen at the landfill.
Thank you.
Alex Anderson is on as well.
Anyone else? Okay, Kelly, are you okay on your recording?
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay. I have 9 guests on the call. Is that your record?
6, 7, 8. Yeah, yes. Yes, I got 9 too.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the call that has not introduced themselves? Okay, thank you all. Good morning and welcome. Thanks for being here. I would ask that you mute your cell phones unless you're seeking recognition by the chair to speak. And there will be an opportunity for anyone in the audience to ask questions or comment during the public comment period or during public comment on each action item that we will have under new business. So with that, gentlemen, I would ask if you have any amendments to the agenda. Mr. Kanda?
No.
Commissioner Prince?
I would like to, during the conversation with the landfill, that's an action item, I was asked by out of Westcliff if we would approve waiving the fees on May 16th for Westcliff Cleanup Day.
I did not.
Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
So I'm going to ask if I can tack that on to the waiving the landfill fees. I think Kathy Rice may join us. This is something I do every year. So if I can tack that on to the landfill fees, I'd like to, please.
Attorney Smith, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think we can fit that in under the landfill agenda item.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jay, would you, Chair would entertain a motion to that effect.
move that we add to the consideration of waiving landfill fees an action item to add waiving the landfill fees for the town of West Cliff cleanup day on May 16th.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to add waiving the landfill cleanup day, May 16th, onto the existing item of business consideration of waiving landfill fees. Is there any discussion about that?
I'll talk about it when it comes up. Yeah, because they cleared it with Alyssa.
You're not at it.
Yeah.
Hearing no discussion, we will vote. All in favor of amending the agenda by adding waived landfill cleanup fees for Silver Cliff on May. West Cliff?
Yes, sir. West Cliff. I'm sorry if I said it wrong.
No, I think I misspoke. For West Cliff on May 16th, say aye.
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 Aye. And for ease of the meeting, gentlemen, if by consent, when we vote, Jay, would you vote first, then Bill, then myself, and we're not talking over each other?
Good plan.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. In no particular order. That's what I threw out there. Any other amendments, gentlemen?
No, sir.
Okay, I have a couple, and I want to run one of them by council. And I want to have this discussion before I make a motion because I may be a little confused here. But we have consideration of the EFF MOU as the first item of business, and then we have ratification of signing the EFF agreement. I think the first item of business was put on before we signed that agreement. I would defer to Clint or Kelly on this, but I think those are duplicative. So unless Clint thinks otherwise, I'm prepared to move to strike the first agenda item.
Well, I think it's the same thing, and it's something that's pretty routine that comes up each year, so you can strike, the first one, I guess, if it's already been signed, and then just deal with ratification of the signing.
So that was my thought. So I would move that we strike the first item of business, consideration of the Colorado Emergency Fire Fund MOU.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to strike the first agenda item. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Give me just a second. I'll clean up the record here. And then I'm going to move to add consideration of signing Ordinance 20-02 MTC and put it on the agenda after the order to publish the model traffic code notice of hearing.
Why are we doing that, Tom?
We did not. We've got on the agenda the consideration to order to publish, but we do not have anything about signing that ordinance.
Isn't that what we do as part of the consideration? How are you reading that? Don't quite get it.
No, the way it's on the agenda is we will consider publishing that model traffic code. There's the notice of hearing. There's nothing about signing that document.
Tom?
Okay, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not going to sign it until the first reading, which won't be until the 5th. You're just considering, we're ratifying or considering publishing it, that model traffic code.
Yeah, we're just publishing the notice of hearing. The first hearing on it will be May 5, and then the second hearing will be at the May 20 meeting.
Right.
So we don't need anything else today except just to ratify the publishing the notice of hearing that Kelly's already done.
Okay, I would withdraw my motion based on that information. Thank you. That is all I had for amendments. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Do we have people joining that have not introduced themselves?
This is Alyssa Livengood. Sorry I was a little late.
Good morning.
Linda and Adrian Washington.
Good morning.
Has anyone else joined us? Okay, we will move on. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, February 28th, March 5th, and March 6th.
Bill, I'll move we accept minutes from February 28th, March, or the 5th and 6th.
I'll second that motion. Sorry, Jay.
That's all right. I've got comment.
And moved and seconded to approve the minutes of February 28th, March 5th, and March 6th. Discussion?
Yes, sir. I have an item on the February 28th minutes.
Okay, let me pull.
Yep. Please do. Well, tell me when you're ready, and I'll tell you where my issue lies.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay, if you look under commissioner items, the second and third paragraph are duplicates, just with different commissioners making the motion. Actually, one's amending resolution 20-05 and one's 20-06. But it appears to me to be identical.
Yes, I saw that, and I thought maybe because 2005 is not the correct resolution number. Can you tell me?
No,
Or
we amended both of those, and you wanted to have a separate motion for each one of them. Even though it was amending the same thing, we just did a separate motion for each amended.
Yeah, I remember it too.
So just for my clarification, resolution 20-05 and 20-06 is the same resolution?
No, 2005 is the landfill expansion fund resolution, and 2006 is the Justice Center Fund resolution.
Oh, yes, okay. Okay, I'm fine with that. I just saw this and it just jumped out at me. Okay, I'm good. No problem.
Invalid option.
Any other discussion on approving these minutes? Thank you, Kelly, for doing those. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good job.
Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of February 28th, March 5, and March 6th, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. Minutes have been approved.
Which is awkward as heck, but we're moving on. And so one of the things we did via that was our first policy meeting with the OAM and the Health Board joint format, which is a good first start of getting communications cleaned up. I thought was a good meeting. And then we went right into the workshop later on the 9th. That afternoon on the ordinance that we're going to take and consider for the proposed resolution to help clean up the authority of the Board of Health. And we'll get into that in a little bit later. I thought that went fairly well. other things too. The airport board, we've had several meetings via email and discussions on the telephone on the AWAS contract. It's been awarded, as you all know, and we are considering the Armstrong engineering contract, which we are getting underway here as soon as possible. That should be wrapped up today or tomorrow, and they'll let us know, and I'll send out an email on when we finally sign that contract. Also, we had a good discussion with the fiber optics program community with Carmel and his crew. We've been working with the state on extensions of grants and things that have occurred as a result of the pandemic. So they did finally issue the report. I'm going to forward that to you all for review. It's just their statement. They sent it to the mayors and us as well. And I'll get that out this afternoon. Take a look at it. And based on how things are progressing, we'll schedule that strategic executive session. Either we're going to put off 2 days, depending on whether we can get together or not to do it, the 1st of May and the 4th of May. In theory, borders ought to be lifted by then, and things will have changed a bit, I hope. And if not, we'll reschedule it. Also, Jay mentioned this earlier to you, wasn't everybody online at the time, but we did have a great meeting, I thought, with Chaffee County Board of Health running a Zoom meeting that included about 27 people, count that I got, Jay, on that. It was quite a few people, and learned a lot from that. It was great. It was the Board of Health working it, and people that were on it, I'll give you, and we can learn by it. There's some things we can mirror and some we may not need, but Public Health Director gave the first report. Emergency Manager was the second online to do that. EMS slash Fire Manager was on. The Human Services Manager. All the elected officials, basically. Coroner, Sheriff's Office, the Buena Vista Mayor, the Salida Mayor, Poncha Springs Administrator, the Superintendent of Schools, and I'll mention something here. Her name is Lisa Yates, and they are continuing a lunch program over there, which I thought would be very useful. They're getting CARES money to do that, to help support and feed the community. I told her I'd get Mike McFalls, our superintendent, in touch with her. Suggested that anyway, and she sent me her email address. They had Sol Vista on there, the Economic Development Corporation, which they are having lead their task force to do the economic recovery, which will be a series of meetings that will come up here in the future with them. And in which, of course, we're going to be going through the same process here in Custer County soon, I hope. They had the Building Department, Planning, Zoning, Development Office, etc. The county commissioners gave their bit too, and then they had a few other attendees that were involved. Good meeting, I thought. Jay, did you want to add anything to that meeting? You brought it up earlier.
No, I thought it was excellent, and I really like the idea. That's a daily meeting. It happens 5 times a week. It's open to anybody, so any of the commissioners. So they invited all, and I'll probably sit in fairly often to see how they're handling things to help ideas for.
I continue now. I mentioned our first meeting on the status of the thing, and I thought Meredith and Alyssa did a good job of our first status meeting, which is we're holding on Mondays in the afternoon and Thursdays. We'll look forward to doing that. We may consider, and Jay brought it up, Chaffee County was able to go through everything, get an input in an hour, basically. I thought that went really well, and I thought ours was done really efficiently as well. Okay, and that's about all I've got. I'm looking forward to our discussion later.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Prince.
Thanks, sir. On my side, I attended the EOC meeting. Then I had a conference call with DOLA at 11 o'clock that day. I sat through Senator Bennett's conference call, which really was excellent. He had the the doctor from Kaiser Permanente, their number 2 official, who went through a lot of information about COVID-19. Most of it we knew, some of it was kind of new information, but it was an excellent thing. I think Senator Bennett's doing another one tomorrow at 1 o'clock if anybody wanted to listen in. He'll have the same doctor there. I was planning on attending that tomorrow. Then, of course, at 3 o'clock we had our workshop, which I thought was interesting, and a lot of feedback as a result of that. Yesterday, I had a phone conference with the West Custer County Hospital District folks involved in the ambulance service to the eastern portion of Custer County. They sent a letter to me a couple of days ago, and I asked them to go ahead and forward that to the commissioners and to legal counsel regarding proposed solution to the standing issue of ambulance service outside the West Custer County Hospital District boundaries. I put that as an item for the April 30th commissioners meeting, so that we could then have a discussion about it, and if we want to take an action, I have it as a consideration, so I feel that at that time we can. But I asked the folks at the ambulance to send that out so that we could have an opportunity to review it and come up with questions and how we feel about it till that time. And then, of course, as I mentioned, I attended the Chaffee County meeting. It was excellent. I'm wondering, it was just a very good meeting, and I'll just stop there. Unfortunately, I missed the Monday meeting with Alyssa and Meredith. I had a brain issue. I don't know what it was. I would say brain tooth, but that's probably not a nice thing to say. But I did, and I missed it. But I will definitely be there tomorrow on the next one. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Been dealing a lot with people in terms of, when are we going back to work and all the issues that we're all dealing with at this moment. So that's all I really have to report at this moment.
Hey, if I may, you reminded me of a couple things, Jay. I did have we're in the process of voting throughout the state now. The delegates are, and that's been very interesting. And as part of that, we were getting on a lot of calls, and Corey Gardner was one of them, talking about the pandemic as well. So he's also doing the same thing that Pittman is, basically. So people ought to stay tuned for those, and they're available. Also, you mentioned the recovery, and that I'm getting the same issues as well. And good thing about the Chaffee County thing, the recovery team, they're doing a joint recovery team with the EDC over in Chaffee County. And one of them happens to be Wendell Pryor, the director, and they got set up for a call there. I'm going to discuss that with them. Maybe we'll put something together to get what their plans are and how they're proceeding, and get our group in a workshop of some kind to start working the basis for moving forward. I know Dola's excited about helping as well. So that's all I had. Sounds like we dropped Link.
He might be muted.
Yeah, before I was just setting up on my computer, getting everything typed in. Before I go on, I want to ask if there's anyone that has not introduced themselves that is on the phone call today. If you do so, please.
Yeah, Kathy Rice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll go through some things I have, and then actually maybe I'll go through my calendar first. Just a second here. I've got about 8 pages open, trying to keep track of everything. So, so the April 8th meeting obviously was canceled. April 9th, I participated in that DOLA Economic Recovery Conference call. Also participated in the policy group organizational teleconference on April 9th. On April 9th, I also participated in a CCI Zoom conference, which was basically to look at different counties and their responses to COVID-19. Adams County and Gunnison County were the 2 featured counties. Also, on April 9th, I attended the BOCC workshop teleconference discussing the BOCC and Board of Health structure. April the 13th, I participated in the policy group teleconference. Yesterday, I met with Donna Hobby, signed some vouchers and checks, and then worked on building a counter, an extension for the counter, and a research table in the clerk and recorder's office. So those are the significant things. I've certainly been answering the emails and phone calls, as I'm sure we all have. So I want to thank Vern for hosting the teleconference this morning. Again, I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I also want to have a discussion about recording or not recording and posting workshops. My opinion is that we have not regularly recorded workshops, and I don't believe that there's a need to do that. There's no decisions made, and I don't think it warrants bringing Kelly either in to record those and take her away from her job, but certainly we're going to have a discussion about that this morning.
Is that something that needs to be on the agenda, or is that something that we could come to a consensus on with just a discussion?
Well, I wanted to discuss it. I guess if we want to make a decision, we can do that. I thought we ought to have a discussion about it since we had some activity about that.
This is Clint, the county attorney. I was advised that some people had requested, apparently it is recorded when we do it through a teleconference. If there's a recording available, I don't see a problem providing that as long as we make it very clear we do not record our workshops. The recording may be available through our teleconferencing system, but I don't see any harm in providing that as long as we're not establishing a policy of recording workshops.
Okay, if we're not in a teleconference, then that's a moot point, correct?
Correct.
A lot workshop, we do not record those.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Is there a difference between a teleconference and a live conference as far as recording goes?
That's what it is.
Well, if it's a workshop.
Yeah, I'm only speaking about workshops.
Okay, and I'm not sure what you mean by a live recording where everybody's actually physically present. We don't record those. The only reason this one got recorded is because it's a feature of the teleconferencing system that Vernon is using, to my understanding. And since there is a recording, if somebody missed it and wants to hear it or wants to hear some things they weren't clear on, I don't see a problem providing that, but we're not routinely providing recordings of workshops.
I'll give you my 2 bits worth on that as well. I believe because circumstances are unusual and not normal, in a normal workshop, the public has an opportunity to times.
Well, I'll give you my opinion if I may. My only concern is we ought to have a consistent policy. Either we record and disseminate, or we don't. We have never done it. I don't see why we would start now. However, since this has already been done, in the essence of having open meetings and open to the public and transparency, I really don't have a problem if we do it. My only issue would be what kind of workload, or is there an expense? I understand there's not, but if there is, to go ahead and to publish what the free conference call folks have available to us. If it's a simple, not expensive operation, I don't care. I mean, I think it's fine for transparency. If there's an expense, an additional amount of work, I feel it's probably not appropriate.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of difference between a teleconference and a face-to-face meeting, workshop. Sorry, not a meeting. We're talking about workshop. They're both certainly meet 24-hour posting requirements. So if anybody is interested, all they have to do is look at the website and they can join in on those conference calls, or they can show up at I call it live, I guess it's face-to-face meeting, not a virtual or a workshop, not a virtual workshop. But I don't know. I think it was it's a situation where we didn't really have a policy other than the fact that we did not record workshops. That was the end of it for me. Whether it was a teleconference or whether it was in person, was it kind of irrelevant to me. But so, Vern, I would ask you to weigh in if you. I know we have not yet downloaded a recording, is my understanding. So certainly, if you have something to bring to the table, you're welcome to do that.
Maybe
Vern,
the telephone.
Vern might be dealing with CenturyLink in the phone, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, this Bogle, as it relates to most of these conferencing, recording is a discretionary item at no cost. It's not an automatic.
Yeah. And that's my understanding, that it occurs automatically, and if we choose to download it, we can. If we don't, we don't. So, gentlemen, if you want to do that by consensus, I would not oppose to that again.
Say that again, Matt, for concurrence.
Yeah, I was just asking if that's something you want to do. Let's have
Like I said, I don't
consensus.
problem.
I talked to Vern about it yesterday, and he did say that he has not done it, but he has the capability to download a recording.
Okay, and I think it ought to be made available. I agree. Also, I might remind everybody we're getting this recorded both by Kelly, and Conference is also recording it now.
Yeah, but this is different because it'll be a
Right.
meeting versus.
I understand. I understand.
I'm kind of in a quandary. I really like the opportunity to be as transparent as absolutely possible, but we've never done it before in terms of published workshops. I think they're certainly posted. If someone wants to put a recorder down and record it themselves, I think that's certainly their ability, and they can do that if they choose to. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it if it's not going to cost any money or take away any work from our staff.
This is Clint. I would like to interject to make sure there's a distinction when you talk about we recorded. The Board of County Commissioners did not record record the workshop, so you're not stepping outside your regular policy. It was recorded by a third party, essentially. The only issue here is whether you want to make that available and post it on the website. It does not affect the long-standing ongoing policy of not recording workshops.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't really have a problem with it. There's nothing we do in a workshop that isn't open to the public anyway.
No, that's true. I would support posting them from this day forward, with the understanding that we're talking about teleconference workshops. We go back to face-to-face workshops. I will not support recording those, simply because we're asking Kelly to leave her desk and her job to come sit in on a workshop that is not required to be recorded anyway.
I'll agree with that.
So by consensus, I will speak to Vernon and ask him if he can post the recording of this, of any subsequent teleconference workshops on the website. Is that reasonable, gentlemen?
The request we've had was also for the previous workshops. I don't see any reason why not. It doesn't have to go from here forward. It ought to be, we've already done it. Right?
I thought you said that, Tom. Did you say any subsequent?
Any workshop this day forward is what I will support.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll support that too.
The point I was trying to make is we had a request for the past one as well. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be made available as well. Just the difference.
There aren't any past recorded workshops through teleconferencing that I'm aware of.
There are. That's what we were discussing yesterday, and the last workshop was recorded by free conference.
Okay, all right. When you said past, you're referring to the one on April 9th. Okay, I thought you were
That,
talking about
and,
before that.
and probably, that's right. Any other? If we've had any
The other one that we were looking for was just the regular meeting on the 7th, because it has not been posted either.
Jackie, when I looked yesterday, it was on there.
Okay, I'll look again. Sorry about that.
And you post those, correct, Kelly, on the meetings?
Yeah, when we get done with the meetings, I upload them and send them to Vernon, and then he posts them.
Okay. I guess I would move that we post any recorded workshops in the future, teleconference workshop.
Was that proper, Tom? We did.
Well,
And I thought we were
not
looking for.
not technically, no.
That's right.
So we'll move on. Okay.
What did we decide?
Pardon me?
What did we decide? Did we decide we're going to go retroactive or just forward from here?
We did not make a decision.
Okay.
So my next commissioner item is discussion on liquidated damages and bonds for the landfill RFP. Neither one of those items were addressed in the RFP. My personal feeling is that I don't think for the project we're talking about liquidated damages or bonds, either one are absolutely necessary. Certainly would like to hear discussion from commissioners about that.
If I may,
Go ahead, sir.
I think anybody at any time who we have doing county work for us, an outside contractor, I feel they must be bonded. I'm not overly concerned about liquidated damages, but thing is an extremely important issue, in my opinion, for any outside contractor at any time, not just a landfill, but for any of them.
get into a discussion on it, we probably ought to do it. What's the rush on it now? We want to get him going.
Well,
An RFP out. So do we want to amend the RFP is the question. The way I'm interpreting this.
yeah, I mean, if we do anything, that's what it would have to be. That RFP's already been published.
Well, you can publish in a minute, but that's okay. But when is it due? It's like in a few days.
Well, give me just a second. I'll pull it up. I've got it in my board packet.
I think it was 28 or something like that. 27 maybe April.
Let's see, the deadline for the submittals was the 27th. So I suppose we could publish an amendment to that RFP if that's the desire.
I think they should be bonded, but I'll do what you guys want.
And do you have a recommended figure?
Well, I think it should be for at least the value of the project that they're bidding on.
I don't know. Personally, I have mixed emotions on that. That may not be enough, Clint, is one issue, or Jay. Clint, what do you think? If we're debating this, we need to schedule. How do we do this?
I'm kind of caught off guard on this one. I don't really know at this point. I think if you want to get into it in detail, you need to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up during the commissioner item, so we can at least have a discussion. If we need to do something, then we can move forward in trying to make that happen.
So how was it brought to your attention, Tom? Was it a contractor asking?
I think a contractor contacted Kara and asked her about it. She asked me.
So, you know, the RFP is not the contract. It's just a request for proposal. I'm feeling that we could put, once we choose the RFP, we could say in the contract it'll have bonding requirements, as it'll have many, many requirements that are not included in the RFP. I think we should just routinely put it into our contracts, and if it becomes a stumbling block, then we can talk about it at that time.
That's true, Jay, but it is a requirement. If we have them do it, it could impact their bid. You know, you got to go buy a bond. I don't know, not that that's a big deal in big corporations, but it's truly a requirement for the RFP that you bid with against. So,
Well, my concern is if we happen to get a bid with a bond and one without, is that going to impact our decision if we do not have something in the RFP about that?
that's correct. You have to be consistent, and that does impact it. It could.
Yeah, I don't think it would be fair to let it impact it if we don't have that as a stipulation in the RFP.
Yeah, and here we are debating it. So what to do?
Well, that's why I brought it up, so we can discuss it. I'm not asking for a decision. I'm just asking for discussion is all. If you guys think we need to move forward, then I'll move forward with writing an amendment to the RFP and meeting to deal with it, we can have a special meeting.
Well, we can, Clint, by consensus, we can probably agree to include it or not. And what I'm hearing is, yeah,
Consensus is a decision. I would suggest a special meeting, maybe Friday, and give us time to do it. And we can have one item on a special meeting. We could post it. Anybody who's interested, and then we could make a determination at that time. I think that'd be the appropriate way to handle this.
cleanest way.
I've certainly got some other items that may fit on the special meeting as I go on with my commissioner report.
That's fine.
Okay, let's back up. Let's back up then, because I think we confused everybody on the workshop issue. I thought we agreed to publish those. They're already there. We got an opinion from Clint. There's no reason to not make the workshop recordings available. All of them.
We didn't make a decision on that because...
No, and that's why I brought it up, because that's what I thought we had the discussion for, was to, since it didn't cost anything, then what's the harm? And that's the attorney's opinion. So why aren't we doing it? That should be, we should have finished that discussion.
I think if we're going to have a special meeting, let's have that discussion at a special meeting, and
There
let's
you
make
go.
a determination by vote. I don't think
Good
this
idea.
is appropriate at this point.
I agree.
Okay. So the next thing I have on my commissioner items is at least the discussion about we have a pending RFP out there whose deadline has already come, and that's for the Justice Center. If we're going to have a special meeting on Friday, I suggest that maybe that goes on the agenda as well. To my knowledge, we've had one respondent. Let me check my notes. The deadline for the Justice Center that RFP was April the 10th. We are currently scheduled to review the applications by the deadline of April 17th. And then we were scheduled to make a decision on selecting a company to help us with moving forward on the Justice Center financing package May 1. So I think probably maybe putting that on the agenda for Friday, if we have a special meeting, would be appropriate as well.
I agree.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm writing about as fast as I can write. See, that would be the 17th, correct?
Correct.
At some point, I think if the chair would entertain a motion to schedule that meeting, but right now I'm just trying to make sure we get everything down on paper that we want to include in that meeting so we don't miss something. So I'm going to put down that we'll look at amendment to include a bond and liquidated damages on our meeting on Friday, if that's what we decide to have, and we'll come up with amounts for that. And then I think we need to look at the Justice Center RFP. And then, Bill, you want a vote on?
Yeah, we got it.
Work.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So I will look at that. We will hopefully get that on the agenda for Friday. The next item I had was discussion of the Energy Impact Assistance Fund 8635. I communicated with Charles, and I know he's on the call this morning via email about this. I just don't want this to be dropping through the cracks because of our teleconference meetings, and so I certainly would like to hear any comments from the commissioners about what their opinion is moving forward. Are we waiting on the MOU workshop to have much further discussion on that impact grant?
I'm not quite sure I understand, Tom. What's the question? Restate that. There's an MOU for what? The CCE MOUs talking about?
Yeah, the MOU that you wrote to present to the commissioners and to the Economic Development Corps.
Right.
That's on the agenda. Is there anything we need to do right now before that workshop to discuss that MOU about that energy impact grant?
I do not think that's appropriate to discuss at this point. We ought to have our workshop. We'll all have a whole better understanding exactly where we all stand, and then we can have a vote on it at a BOCC meeting.
I agree, because I don't know what the impact issue is from a timeliness point of view. It doesn't make sense not to have the MOU meeting first.
I agree. Charles asked me if I thought there was anything we needed to be doing. I said, personally, I don't think there is. I think we need to wait till we get the workshop, but I wanted to bring that up because it's not my responsibility to make that decision without having a discussion from all three of us.
And I appreciate that. Agreed.
Okay.
And I'd say let's hold off until the workshop.
Okay. And that's on the agenda, so we will talk about that later. The next item is I want to inform you that the school, Custer County School, is feeding students in our county. The in-town kids are being fed on Monday and Wednesday from 9 to 10 o'clock in the west parking lot. And the out-of-town kids are meals will be being delivered in designated areas via school buses from 9 to 9:30. Tracy Terry is the contact person that is putting that together. So we are doing that, Bill.
No, I understand, Tom. That wasn't the point. I've confused everybody. The point I was trying to make is there's additional money that's available. And I don't know if Mike McFalls is aware of it or whether he's already applied for the CARES money to continue this and then actually enhance it. So that was the only point.
Okay, and then, of course, we have food distribution going on through our BSO office, and
Right.
Karen Sheriff is doing some as well. So, and then the last item I have on commissioner items is I want to move forward with developing an economic recovery task force utilizing business leaders in the county. Again, maybe we can put that on the agenda for a special meeting if that happens on Friday.
That's a very, very good place for it. It's something we need to do as soon as.
I asked Karen to put that on for April 30th, but if we want to move it up into a special meeting, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, I think we ought to at least get started on that conversation as soon as we can. It's going to take a little while to hammer out who would serve on that and develop some objectives and guidelines.
That's perfect.
Maybe that could be added to Friday also as an agenda item.
Yes, I would agree. Economic Recovery Task Force, I'll put that on there as well.
So that total now, that's 5 items for Friday. Well, I guess we ought to propose. I'll move. We have a special meeting to encapsulate the special topics that have just come up, and let's do it on Friday the 17th at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock or not?
Yeah, again, I kind of question the legality of making the motions during commissioner items.
Well, that's a good question now. We're going to have a special meeting to make a motion for a special meeting.
Well,
all right, where do you want that we do it?
I don't
think
know.
we need a motion. Let's just set up a meeting.
Yeah, we can schedule a meeting.
I'll tell you what.
Consensus item.
The chair has the authority to set special meetings. So I think that might be the route to go. Clint, you're welcome to weigh in on this.
You can go ahead and set a special meeting as long as you give the proper public notice of the actual meeting. You don't need to vote on it right now.
Yeah, we don't need to vote on it.
I think that would be one of the ways we could get around it, Bill. So, yeah, the chair would request a special BOCC meeting to be held Friday. Time would be open for suggestions. I'd like to do it at 9 versus 10, Bill, unless you had a specific reason for that time.
No, there could be a conflict, but I'll make it happen at 9 if we have to. We'll do it.
Okay.
Well, my opinion is, if I could just drop in, is that all of our BOCC meetings at 9, I think it would be a disservice if we did it at 10. It may create some confusion. I think consistency is important, and 9 o'clock is the right time.
Not a problem.
Okay, thanks for your input. So, yeah, Chair will set that meeting April 17th, 9 o'clock a.m. Teleconference. Vern, can you make that happen for us?
I know he will. We'll have to get him when he's off with CenturyLink.
That's easy to do.
Yeah. Kelly, are you okay with that time? And Dave?
Yeah, I'm good.
Clint?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
And Kara?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. So let the record show that we'll have a special BOCC meeting April 17th, 9 o'clock a.m.
Hey, on items that we trying to remember what we didn't do. I had meant to, and it requires no special meeting. The minutes for the water users that went over to attend the Blue Line Committee meeting back in February. I did get the minutes out. Did you receive them, Tom, Jane?
I did.
Yes.
Okay. Wanted to make sure. Thanks.
Yeah. And I see they are, that you are attending that as commissioner, is that correct?
No, they put that down there, and I made that clear to them, but they put it in there, and I didn't ask them to amend the minutes.
Okay.
I would.
No, it's not commissioner, it's not representing Custer County, other than from a water user point of view, as we've always stated.
Okay, well, the minutes certainly do not reflect that.
I know, I saw that, and so I'll ask them to amend it.
Thank you.
Okay, I had made a note under the Upper Arkansas Water District report, that very thing about the Blue Line Committee meeting. So thank you, Bill, appreciate it. Anything else on the water report?
Negative. Other than there may be other meetings that will occur as actions continue to be resolved before the deadline.
Okay. We'll move on. Attorney items?
Clint, are you there? I got $100 bill.
Okay, how about now?
There you go.
All right. Put the $100 bill in the check or envelope, please. Okay, first of all, I missed the start of the last teleconference meeting on April 7th because I wrote down the number to call wrong. Once I called the right number, it worked just fine. So I'm trying to find my notes from back then. All right, just very briefly, and because the last actual meeting we had, I think, was March 31. That's where we met in the conference or the commissioner's room, and we were spaced out. And then after that, we decided to go to teleconference meetings. So, but after that, I did do the final version of the MOU between the Board of County Commissioners and Economic Development, and you're going to be scheduling a workshop to discuss that. Also, subsequent to that, because of some things that were said that about the public's right to speak at commissioners' meeting, I took it upon myself to prepare a brief legal memo, which I sent to you, which was later that same day validated by something Kelly got from the Attorney General's office that she sent out to all of you, that the right of the public to speak at your public meetings it's not a right. If somebody wants to address the Board of County Commissioners on an issue, they can get on the agenda, but allowing public comment on issues is optional, and that's been normally the practice and will obviously continue to be the practice. But for that particular meeting, things were everything was a little bit different than just because of the social distancing. There wasn't room for anybody else in the actual room. So I just wanted to make a statement, though, that, Tom, your decision and your statement that the public does not have a right to speak at the commissioners' meeting was correct, unless somebody gets on the agenda to talk about a particular item. Let's see, going on, I prepared, at your request, some guidelines for a future executive session between the Board of County Commissioners and the mayors from the two towns and the company that you're working with on the fiber optic and some other issues. At the request of Mike Halpin from the Sheriff's Department, the Sheriff's Department wants to update the model traffic code that the county works under. There have been various versions in effect going way back to 1952. The one that the county has been operating under was a version that was adopted in 2009, I believe, and it was time to be updated. So I prepared a proposed ordinance for that purpose, and that is on the agenda for the initial part of it, which is publishing the notice required by Colorado Department of Transportation. I participated in the workshop on April 9, and also because of that workshop, I prepared a proposed resolution spelling out the relationship between the Board of County Commissioners and the Board of Health and the Custer County Public Health Agency, and that resolution is on the agenda today for consideration. Okay, I think that's everything I've done since my last report.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. As a side note, too, I wanted to throw out an encouragement for the citizens of our community to sign up for Everbridge, a first alert and notification system. Code Red is no longer viable, so if people had subscribed to Code Red, they need to sign up for Everbridge. Meredith, do you have a comment about that?
I do. I was just about to type in, so thanks. So on the website, old and new, there's links to sign up. And if anyone has any questions, send me an email or give me a phone call, and then we can help walk through. And then we're also looking at doing a test notification, just to test the system to see how it's working and if we need to change or improve anything. That's not happening today, but it's going to be planned out pretty soon. So,
okay.
Any questions?
And yeah, that you don't switch over automatically, correct? Those users have to sign up for that.
Yeah, those systems don't talk together. So Code Red is no longer in use, and now we will be switching to Everbridge. So you will have to sign up online, and then again, if you don't have internet access or you need help, just let us know, and then we can sign you up manually on our side.
Okay, and online being where?
Yeah, on the county website, both the new one and the old one, there is links to sign up. So if you go to the home page of CusterCountyGov.com, it should be on the right-hand side. I'm pulling it up right now so I can, on the right-hand side, it's an orange box. It says emergency notifications, and there's a link to press address for sign up. But there's also instructions if you want help on how to sign up, and gives a kind of an explanation on what the system does.
Okay. All right. Very good. And while we're at it, I want to throw in another plug for the citizens to complete the U.S. Census. We need to keep hammering away at that. It's going to have a significant impact on the finances, financial status of our county as we move forward, as well as some election ramifications at the federal level. So I would ask again, if anybody's joined us that has not introduced himself and would like to do that, please do so.
It was me. I lost connection and joined back in.
Okay.
And Barbara.
All right. Okay, thank you. Did you get that, Kelly?
No, I didn't.
And Barbara?
Oh, thanks.
We will move on. Administrative assistant items. I've allowed 15 minutes for this portion of the agenda today.
I'm good.
Thank you. We gained a bunch of time on our agenda then, didn't we? All right, we'll move on. Public comment.
Tom, this is Jackie Bubis.
Go ahead.
I'm a little confused and I want to get it right for the paper. Earlier when you discussed putting the workshops, posting them, you said you would talk to Vern and you would post the one from the 9th and any future teleconference ones. Well, then it sounded like you were going to put that on the agenda for a vote for the Friday meeting. So can you clear that up just so that I get it right for the paper, please?
Yes, I sure can. Thank you. Yeah, I did make that statement, and then that subsequently we all agreed to put that on the agenda for the 17th. So I would assume there'll be a decision coming out of that special meeting on the 17th pertaining to posting the workshops. You're welcome. Anyone else? Public comment. All right, hearing none. Go ahead, Tom.
I just wanted to mention that I wanted to introduce the letter from Bob Tobin to the county commissioners, and it was dated April 15. It was sent out via email yesterday, but I just wanted to note that that has been placed, I believe, on the agenda for April 30 discussion.
Tom, not to step over you, but I did, after our discussion, I put that on the agenda for April 30th.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, and Mr. Shepard, Clint or Jay indicated to the rest of the commissioners via email that he did put that on there, made a request to Kara to put that on the agenda, so I did not respond back that I had received that letter. Certainly can do that, but yes, we all received it. I certainly read it, and so that's why I did not respond.
That's fine. Thank you.
You bet. Other public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Gentlemen, any unfinished business?
Bring something up. The voucher program that was in place, where we had $75 food vouchers for people waiting, trying to fill in the gap between the government stimulus check and unemployment, has come to an organized end. We're not going to meet on Mondays anymore to do that. This is really for the general public is why I'm stating it here. However, we do have vouchers that are left over. We gave those to Karen Share, and they will have food vouchers available until they're gone. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's good information. So no longer at your place of business.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, unfinished business, I have none.
I have none other.
Neither do I.
All right, we'll move on. Thank you. New business. As we go through our agenda items, on any action items, I will ask for public comment. Would again ask if you identify yourself if you choose to speak. First item of business consideration of waiving the landfills. I would turn the floor over to Commissioner Kanda. I believe he asked for this to be on the agenda.
Yes, I did some time ago, and it's been hard to get it moving because of the pandemic causing the schedule changes, and we've canceled meetings and we've moved meetings. And what that is a result of is a request by many citizens, actually, on what we can do to help alleviate and help people that have lost their jobs or are having a hard time making ends meet, do what we can to put a few bucks in their pocket, some of which we were looking at, and I think Jay brought it up before, is can we move tax collection days? So we're trying to be creative as best we can, and one of them is the landfill fees. So I asked Rusty and Brian some time ago to come to us with options that are possible to do. It's more complicated than you think because by law we have to conform with the requirement to report the tonnage, and we have to pay a certain amount for whatever we put in the ground. And how do we pay that? How would we offset that with another set of dollars from something else? And those kinds of things we have to consider. It's just not as easy as saying, okay, every bag is free from here on out. So I'm going to turn it over to Rusty to give us options that we can consider, and we can either debate on those, make a decision today on some of them, or send them back to the drawing board and modify as well. So don't look at what Rusty's going to present as a this is the way it is and the only way it is on the 4 or 5 options, because we may be able to tailor it. So Rusty, are you still on board out there? You're not out with the guys right now, are you?
Yeah, I'm out here with Brian right now.
Good. So go ahead. What you got?
Me and Brian are out here at the landfill.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Comments.
I don't know how to really do that because we are regulated by the state of Colorado, and we have to pay for every vehicle that comes to the landfill. We have to pay 35 cents for every cubic yard a commercial vehicle comes to the landfill with. So it's a sizable number every quarter. We did come up with an option that might help a little bit, that maybe Custer County residents could come to the landfill with 3 bags of trash a week. If they did that, if they came out with 3 bags a week, once a week, then that'd be a savings of $24 a month.
What just did nightmare that may be trying to maintain who has been here, who hasn't, and how many bags they have given. I think that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, we have to track every bag and every cubic yard, and then, and if you start waiving that, it's just going to get complicated,
Okay. Yeah, I have not had one single person contact me about waiving the landfill fees. I'm not in favor of it, actually, because I think we're going to open up a can of worms with people, we're not going to be able to determine whether they need that service or not. There are some things that I think damage our capacity in that landfill: couches, mattresses, tires, white goods, meaning refrigerators, washers, dryers. If we start waiving landfill fees, I'm afraid we're going to open ourselves up to an increased traffic that may not be necessary, and also the loss of that revenue that those gentlemen just spoke about. I've not heard of an increase in roadside dumping or the unauthorized use of someone else's dumpsters. I just don't get the sense that it's an issue.
Yeah, I think that we'd actually still have to charge for people that actually went down in the landfill with their trailers and whatnot. The only real option I think that we came up with that might be a possibility was just the bags for our roll-off container up by the office.
All right.
That is. I got a question for Rusty. Rusty, you said it's that would offset some of the money that we collect. You said it was sizable at the front of the briefing. Was that over a year? What is that we have to pay? Is it like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000?
You know, in a year, you're talking close to $5,000 is what we pay for the state for every vehicle. Car, SUV, pickups or more. And the commercial vehicles is 35 cents for every cubic yard they bring in. And so if they have a 25-yard truck, that's 35 cents every yard.
Right. So going with your proposal, I haven't thought about it because first, you brought it to us. How much would we have to offset with just the bag piece and the way you're proposing to pull it together? If it's
I think that if we did that for the household bag trash, then the landfill would probably be losing around $1,500 a month.
Just on the upper back.
Right.
Okay. All right. I don't. And what do you think in the pocket to the people that would come and throw their trash in? Is it the amount that $5, $10 a trip back or not?
Well, if we charge everybody the same fee as what we're doing now, because it's $2 a bag up to 3 bags. So if they bring 3 bags and drop them off, that's $6. And so if they did that once a week for a month, that's $24 that they would save. But then it's costing the landfill $1,500 at the end of the month. So.
Right.
It's just a hard one to figure out. It's going to take some discussion, I'm sure. But we're more than willing to help out whatever we can do.
Yeah, it just depends on how much longer we think this is going to occur and how much the people today. I think we have a pretty good feel based on how many meals we're handing out. There's quite a few people that are not doing well right now. I don't know if it's going to continue. I think for another couple months, probably. That's $3,000 maybe. Well, no, it can't be that much. But you said it's $5,000 for the year.
That's what we would owe. That's what we owe the state.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner, do you choose to move forward or you want to move on?
If I can weigh in,
Go ahead.
we're talking about. First of all, I know we're talking about only individuals when we're talking about the commercial waiving fees, but commercial trash haulers, I believe. And so we're looking at just waiving it for the individual, $2 a bag. I think trying to maintain who brought in bags and who didn't. I know you write that down every time you bring it in because I think trying to
What? No, I'm just trying to say that I think trying to maintain, did you bring in 3 bags this week, and, you know, is this your 4th bag this week, and trying to keep a, I don't know, some kind of spreadsheet or something on who did and who didn't is extremely onerous. When we're talking about $2 a bag, I'm just not seeing how this is really helping people a lot. I think comparing it to Parent Share and John Carroll, the VSO, giving out meals, it's a whole different animal because that's a lot of money in food. I just don't see the utility in waiving individual bag fees at this time, considering the amount of work it's going to add to the landfill folks.
So let me ask a question then, Jay, because you brought it up. Rusty, what is different? You're not keeping track in this case. You already keep track of everything that is dropped above, and you're not taking track of individuals that are putting it in that case. It's just the cubic yards. So what clarify it? So what is onerous to you? Is there anything different that you would do except don't collect as much money?
Well, this is Brian. You know, if you want to do this for like Custer County people only, I mean, then we're looking at driver's license. We're looking at, you know, just more contact with these people.
Right.
And then probably more people are going to come. And so we got to take that in consideration as well. Does that make sense?
Good point.
I mean, we got to track every vehicle, every bag, and every cubic yard, and then we got to tally it at the end of the day. And then if you're waiving fees, it's just another, you know, it's just more work as far as the financial part. You know, it's going to be difficult. And then, like Jay mentioned about the commercial side, that's a whole other ball of wax. That, I mean, that's just going to get even more, you know, crazy if we start bringing that up.
Yeah, I agree. It is. That would be. I'm agreeing with Jay. I don't think it's going to. The return on investment here probably isn't going to be as good as it could be or should be, or that we would like to see, I should say.
And Bill, I agree with that, but I really want to commend you for looking at ways to help the community during this hard time. So whether we approve it or don't approve it, you're thinking outside the box. I appreciate that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anything else on the landfill fees? Okay, we'll move on.
Hey, can I recommend? Is it possible to take a break? You know, even remotely, we need to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I had it on my agenda to take a break at 10:15, and that came and went, I'll tell you. So yes, I'm in concurrence with consent, gentlemen. Let's take about a 4-minute break.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, we will return at about 10:29. So let's come back about 10:33. You okay with that?
Good.
Point on our agenda, the amendment to the agenda to include waiving landfill fees for the town of Westcliff for their cleanup on May 16th. Jay, you requested the addition to the agenda. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, sir. If it's okay, I would like to ask Kathy Rice to chime in and can give us an update on it. I know she spoke with Alyssa. So, Kathy, if you wouldn't mind taking over.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, we actually, PBRO is our trash company, and they agreed to do it. And Ed talked to Alyssa, and she said as long as we wear gloves, mask, and do our social distancing, she was okay with it. It's, you know, a couple hours, 7:30 to maybe 10:30, and we normally have less than 10 volunteers plus the truck driver. And we really feel, it's even more important this year than any other year to do the cleanup. So we would appreciate any consideration of waiving the fees.
Okay, what about tires?
No tires. No tires, and we will pay for the mattresses as usual.
Okay, and then white goods, refrigerators, washers, dryers?
They won't go to landfill. They'll go out to where we normally put them at the PBRO.
Okay. I don't believe the rest of mine are still on, but I'll ask if they are just to make sure. Gentlemen, are you still on the call?
Yes, sir.
I'm here.
Good. Rusty, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, that's always been fine. The towns do an excellent job with their cleanup days, so that's always worked well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and move that we approve May 16th as West Cliff Cleanup Day with the restrictions issued by our public health nurse and our director of emergency management for May 16th for the town of West Cliff.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to waive the landfill fees for the town of West Cliff for their cleanup day on May 16th. Discussion.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I'm sorry, I just want to say, do we want to include time on the motion, time frame, or no?
I don't think so. It's established every year. It's usually done before noon.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Kendall.
Yeah, and I know in the past we've done it. It's a day deal. Possibly, it probably doesn't matter. But my question is, every year we always get a question. Also, people want to bring their tires in, or Silver Cliff might want to join in. How do we handle that in the past? I don't know. With Kathy, did you coordinate that with Silver Cliff at all, or do they care?
Yeah, Silver Cliff has canceled theirs for now. They're going to try to reschedule it at a later date. And we do advertise that we do not pick up tires, and if there are tires, we just flat don't pick them up.
Okay, good.
Further
All right,
discussion?
if Silver Cliff decides to do it, then we'll entertain another waiver at that point. That's what I'm hearing.
That's what we've done in the past, yes.
Good deal.
Further discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of waiving the landfill fees for West Cliff cleanup May 16th, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for being on this morning, Kathy.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Next item of business, consideration of the proposed resolution for the Board of Health. Pulling it up as we speak.
Do we know what number that resolution is? I have a question mark where it says 20-something.
Yeah, I just sent an email to Kara asking her to give us the correct number for this one.
It's 09.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kara.
Sorry, I thought I sent one out that had 2009. I must have sent the wrong one. That was my bad.
That's okay. Yeah.
But you might have said that you might have said that I'm looking at the wrong one too. It's not it has nothing to do with you. It's probably me.
Yeah, I've got it. I have a question mark on mine, and I may have picked up the wrong one too, but that's what I have.
All right.
So
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead. I'll go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill. I apologize. I didn't mean to-
Go ahead and start it, and I'll
I was just going to go ahead and I was going to go ahead and move that we adopt Resolution 2009, a resolution in Custer County, a political subdivision of the state of Colorado, expanding upon Resolution number 09-01, which was adopted on February 9th, 2009.
I'll second it.
Been moving and seconded to adopt Resolution 20-09, expanding upon resolution number 09-01. Kara, you did post this on the website, correct, as a proposed resolution?
Vernon was supposed to help me with that. Is he on the call?
That's right. He did say he would do it. I'm sorry.
This is Alex. It should be up on the website.
Yes, it is. It's up on the website right now.
Okay. All right. And
Thank you.
For Adrian Washington, you had asked about that. Were you able to see that document?
Yes, he was.
All right. Thank you. Discussion, gentlemen?
Okay, let me, Jay, go ahead. Did you say you had something?
No, go ahead, sir. I'll wait till you're done. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, what I would propose I do, I want to state some facts for the public so they understand why the resolution is written the way it is that we're considering, because I know there's people that haven't had the benefit of workshops or reading the previous resolutions. And I would like to read what Clint put together in a memorandum to us that basically sets did all the legal work and the case law that went into this to make sure we conformed with the statutes of the state public law, and also that there was confusion on the public's part, our part on lines of authority, because as we all know, we the commissioners and we the health board, the commissioners acting as the health board, are we are elected officials that are part of a representative democracy, and as such we can't cede or delegate our authority that's vested in us as elected leaders, because we do represent the citizens of the county. We must keep that in mind at all times. So it needs to be clear. And unfortunately, when the original law or the original resolution was considered back in 2006, and I think they enacted it in February and adopted it February 9th in 2009, that board set up a public health board without establishing the lines of authority that were also required at the time. And Clint, I want to commend you for doing a very good job of pulling together all the effort that you put in researching this and then writing the resolution itself. So if I may, I would like to read part of what Clint put together so that it clearly spells out why the resolution looks the way it is. So what he did is, as a memo, sent it to us as a preliminary matter. He said it occurred to him that the public health nurse should be making her monthly reports to the County Board of Health, not the Board of County Commissioners. The commissioners have no regulatory authority over the Custer County Public Health Agency. And the public health nurse, who by statute also serves as the public health director, statute. Having made this observation, here is the relevant law that he pulled up first, and that was under Title 25 in the public health statute. So 25-1-501-1, Paren 1, Paren C, states that each county should establish to be part of a local public health agency organized under the local Board of Health with a public health director and other staff necessary to provide public health services. It goes on 25-1-502, and there are several of these paragraphs that are applicable in theory. And it defines agency, and that means a county or a district public health agency. And I'll state for the record that a district can be two counties or more that get together and pool their resources and establish a district public health agency between them. And it is established pursuant to Section 25-1-506. Further, he goes on that a public health agency means an organization operated by a federal, state, or local government or its designees that acts principally, to protect or preserve the public's health. agency includes the county public health agency or a district public health agency. So it goes on, finally on 506.1, each county by resolution of its Board of Commissioners shall establish and maintain a county public health agency. An agency shall consist of the county Board of Health, public health director, and all other personnel employed or retained by the agency. The jurisdiction of any public health agency shall extend over all unincorporated areas of the county and over all municipal corporations within the territorial limits of the county, unless the municipal corporation maintains its own public health agency. 506, 3, goes on. In addition to the powers and duties, a public health agency shall have the following duties. And these are very clear: to establish, maintain, and enforce isolation and quarantine, and in pursuance thereof, and for this purpose only to exercise physical control over property and over persons of the people within the jurisdiction of the agency, as the agency may find necessary for the protection of public health. They have the power to close schools, public places, and prohibit gatherings of people when necessary for the public good, public health. Now, also other areas that are relevant is in 508, Prin 1, Prin C. That goes on: in a county with a population of less than 100,000, the Board of County Commissioners may designate itself as the County Board of Health. That's what happened in 2009. Such county boards shall assume all the duties of appointed county boards. In addition to all other powers and duties conferred and imposed upon the County Board of Health by the provisions of this subpart 3, the County Board of Health or a District Board of Health shall have and exercise specific powers and duties. In particular, subparagraph 5C, to select a public health director to serve at the pleasure of the county or district board, the county health board in our case. The public health director may be a physician's assistant, or a public health nurse. In the event of a public health emergency, the agency shall issue orders and adopt rules consistent with the laws and rules of the state public health director, and laws of the state and the rules of the state public health director that they may deem necessary for proper exercise of powers and duties. So that's the basic setup for the organization. And then at my request, you can state at Bill's request, I had a lengthy conversation with Dennis Hunt about the statutory language set forth above and about the respective roles of the Board of County Commissioners and the County Board of Health. Said there is agreement that the statutes are poorly written and sometimes conflict with one another and are vague on certain matters. But we also agree that the public health orders issued by the governor and by our local public health director are sometimes merely directives that cannot be enforced. We don't believe that you can impose fines and or arrest and incarcerate people on the basis of these orders necessarily. And the orders use words like suggest and recommend and encourage. In other words, the orders are legally unenforceable in their opinion. They did disagree on a couple things, and one was that the power to hire and fire the public health director. He believes that the county commissioners there was a disagreement that Dennis Hunt agreed the commissioners had the authority. But Clint did conclude, after a lot of research and case law, that the power should reside with the board, the County Board of Health, as a separate political subdivision of the state. So in the resolution 09-01 created our local health board. That's one I mentioned in 2009. The BOCC also served as board members. However, the powers of the commissioners and the powers of the Board of Health are not intermingled. Each has separate and distinct statutory duties. Clint wrote, I think that the line between the two boards has been blurred by custom and practice over the years. For example, hiring the public health director has been done by the commissioners. That is a responsibility that should be exercised by the Board of Health, sitting as the Board of Health. The commissioner sitting as the Board of Health. And as stated in in the beginning of this memo, the public health director and the public health nurse should report directly to the Board of Health, not the Board of County Commissioners. In any event, the legal issue addressed in the memo is whether the Board of Commissioners has the power to or control over the county public health agency by virtue of having adopted a resolution, which was mandated by statutes establishing the agency. I believe, he says, goes on, that the decision of the Colorado Supreme Court in the case of Jefferson County Health Services Association Incorporated versus Finney, this was back in Colorado, 1998, is dispositive of this issue. This case was decided in 98 prior to the adoption of the current Public Health and Environment Act in 2008. Under the earlier law, there was a Part 6 of said act that provided for local boards of health. That provision was repealed, but the reasoning in this case is still valid and controlled. The bottom line, he goes on and pulled up several other court cases and Supreme Court judgments and concluded that the County Board of Health, not the Board of Commissioners, is the governing body of the County Health Department. So that spells out legally the issues and clarifies why the resolution needed to be amended. Now, I know that the county, or the new resolution, the proposed resolution, I should say, Clint has proposed, has been disseminated. I can read that, or if you don't think that's necessary, I'll let that go. I'll defer to Tom and Jay. Do you want me to read the resolution, proposed resolution?
I think what you just illustrated is basically what the resolution says. I'm fine summarizing it, stating that we really need to bifurcate the BOCC and the Board of Health. I don't think we're going to have any argument from any of us that we have been lax in doing that appropriately, not knowing the proper way, and now that we know that they're absolutely separate and distinct areas within the county, this is what the resolution, in my opinion, states. So I don't know if we need to read the whole thing. I suspect, I don't know if it's true or not, but I suspect we'll all agree that it's very clear that we need to separate the BOCC and the Board of Health.
Right, and I think one thing that's to summarize too that would be beneficial for everybody, we are also required as that separate board to hold our separate meetings more routinely than we have in the past. In the past, we've just been convening the board as we had issues crop up. But we need to maintain a continuity here to regular meetings and have the public health director report status and issues at those meetings as opposed in the BOCC meetings. And that is clearly spelled out in the resolution as well. So I'm good with that.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, I could not find anything in my research statutorily that dictated how often the Board of Health needs to meet. So that was left up to the individual boards. They can meet whenever they want. So, no, I don't believe we need to read the entire resolution. It was provided to us in timely fashion.
Gentlemen, this is Clint. Just wanted to insert one thing. I just sent Kara another updated final version in paragraph 5. In the middle of that paragraph, I had used the language about, when the public health director appears before the commissioners to make her monthly reports, I changed that to his/her monthly reports. And that's the only change I made since. I think the one copy that you have.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry. And along that line, I think it's important it's really great that we've got this cleared up, because when the county commissioners, this is part of the resolution, I'm just going to paraphrase it, sit at the Board of Health, we do have the right to exercise the statutory powers that are conferred upon the
You do have a motion.
I moved and you seconded, Bill.
Right.
And I did that so we could have this discussion.
Further discussion.
Can I just ask Clint something?
Go ahead.
So, Clint, can you send me that final copy also so that I can make sure we get the right copy signed?
Yeah, I'll do that right now while we're talking, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the comment I would have moving forward certainly is we have to break our habit of referring to our public health director as a public health nurse. The fact that she's a nurse has nothing to do with it other than it meets one of the qualifications. So she is the director of public health. And we corrected the language in this resolution to reflect that as best as I can determine. Further comment? Public comment?
This is Jackie. I just have a quick question. When the Board of Health meets separately from within a Board of County Commissioner meeting when you adjourn and like you've been doing for years, when they have separate meetings, those obviously have to be announced ahead of time. Will they be recorded, and will there be minutes made available to the public? I couldn't really anywhere in statute, but I didn't look for a long time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I had not been able to find anything giving guidance to that either. It might be a charge we hand over to our attorney to pursue that a little more to find out. Because we have all been guilty of falling into that thing of just adjourning or taking a recess from the commissioner meeting. It's always kind of just been dealt with. So yeah, I think we need to redefine the protocols of how that.
Let me jump in on that, Tom, because I think Clint gave us at least a start on it. Yeah, paragraph 6 of the proposed resolution has paragraph 5 shall not be construed as limiting the meetings of the Board of Health to those occasions when the Board of County Commissioners is meeting. As a separate political subdivision of the state of Colorado, the Board of Health has the right to schedule its own meetings at any time, subject only to proper notice being given in accordance with the Colorado Open Meetings Law. So, Jackie, it has to conform. Go ahead, Clint.
I was just going to say, and for the rest of the question, it is a political subdivision of the state of Colorado, the Board of Health is. So it's subject to the open meeting law requirements. They do have to be recorded. They are open to the public, and there does have to be the 24-hour notice in advance of a meeting.
Thank you, sir. Further discussion?
Yes, I have a comment from Adrian Washington.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
In section 5 of the resolution, Clint, I would just recommend where you written when the public health director appears before the commissioners to make, I would just strike the his or her and just simply say to make monthly reports and keep it gender neutral.
I'm okay with that.
Me too.
Thank you.
Clint, you have a comment?
No, it's the matters before you to make your decision now.
Yeah. I'll consent to that as well. So we would, in the final consideration, then we'll drop his/her.
Just make sure Kelly's got that.
Okay. what version number this is, probably 7 or 8, huh?
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
And nothing against you, Tom, but if I could get Clint's final version, then I know that it's the one that all the changes have been made on.
I agree. Okay, well, Kelly, did you get the one I sent you a few minutes ago?
Send it to all of us when you're done.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, in paragraph 5, in the middle there, you can see his/her. Just delete that.
Paragraph 5. Okay, just delete it. All right, I can do that.
Yeah, and because this has the correct number on it now, 20-09, so everything else should be good. Just use that one.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend, if I may, I'd like to amend my motion to approve Resolution 20-09 with modifications to make the document gender neutral.
Do I have to agree as a second, or is it given?
No, we'll need a second.
Yeah, I'll second it again.
It's been moved and seconded to amend the motion to add the words as corrected as of today, dropping his/her from paragraph 5. Discussion on the amendment? Public comment on the amendment? Hearing none, will vote. All in favor of the amendment, which states adopting this resolution with the change of dropping his/her, say aye.
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 Aye. Any further discussion on the main motion adopting resolution 20-09?
Tom, I thought we were, wait, hang on a second. I thought we were dropping the her and not saying his/her, just drop it completely. And I think I didn't hear the gentleman from the audience who recommended that, but it really makes sense before the commissioners to make monthly reports and just drop it completely. No her.
That's right.
Nothing.
That's what we just voted on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said to change it to his/her. Okay.
No. Change to.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Okay. Further discussion on the main motion, which is to adopt resolution 20-09. Public comment. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of adoption of 20-09, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Resolution 20-09 has been adopted. And Ms. Kelly, we're going to assume you have the final copy now.
I do, and then you can just come in and sign it.
Okay. Next item of business, ratification of signing the emergency fire fund agreement. I would move that we ratify the action of signing this emergency fire fund agreement. Let me pull that document up. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
So it's been moved and seconded to ratify the signing of the EFF agreement. I can give you just a little quick background on that. I believe today was the deadline for that to be submitted. That's why I went ahead and signed it at Shannon's urging. Kelly, Shannon, and I had to sign that. It's basically so that we are eligible. We do this every year, so we're eligible for funding from DFPC. I think the one figure that was in there was $8,700. fairly lengthy document. It's got a lot of information in it. It hasn't changed significantly from the last one.
May I comment?
Certainly.
Thank you. I read the document, and I remember doing this on an annual basis. I'm always concerned about approving a document with a bunch of blanks in it. And this one has quite a few blanks in it. Not quite a few, but it has some blanks in it that need to get filled in. I'm assuming all that was done appropriately. I don't have the final version of it.
Yeah, your assumption is correct, sir. Those were filled in. Kelly and Shannon filled them in.
Okay. And, okay, well, I have no issues with this if that's the case.
I don't have any issues either.
Okay. Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of ratifying the signing of the EFF Memorandum of Understanding Agreement, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Kelly, thank you for that work. I know that got to be a little drug out as well, didn't it?
Just a little, but it's okay. It's all done now.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Next item of business, consideration of ROI energy request for some LED lighting upgrades. Rather than start with a motion, I would ask for some discussion about this. If you guys have any opinions or information you want to share. I've been in contact with this Joseph Herla from ROI. I would just tell you, interestingly, I thought I was sending an email to Kelly, and I was actually, it ended up going back, replying back to this Joseph Herla, and I had said what I thought I was saying to Kelly, that obviously this company is making a big deal about not costing the county any money. I said, I guarantee you they're going to make money from somebody. Well, it went to him, and he responded, and he said, you're absolutely correct. We will make money from Black Hills Energy and other revenue streams that they have. So I thought, oh my gosh, I got to be a little more careful about what I'm sending my emails to. But he was very respectful about it. So
Tom, I got a
go ahead.
question more than a comment. It might be good for everybody's benefit to understand how this come up in the first place and why is it ROI?
Can I comment on that, Tom?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm very confused.
So this gentleman stopped by the courthouse one day, probably a month and a half ago now, to talk with Ivan Mars, and they walked around the courthouse and looked at all of our lighting, and basically when he got done he came in and talked to me, and basically his company replaces all the lighting with LED lighting, which will save the county money in the end in energy bills. And the way they do that is that Vernon, so they pay for all of the replacement bulbs, and that's what they get paid for by Black Hills. And then Vernon, they send all the material to him, and he would do all the replacing of it, and so that's why it wouldn't cost the county anything. And
Kelly, you said Vernon, do you mean?
Or Ivan, yes, excuse me, Ivan. Ivan would do all the replacing of the bulbs, and it wouldn't cost the county anything. He just wanted to, at that point, set up a workshop to talk with you guys and give his presentation, and then that's when the whole COVID thing hit, and he's just kind of been pushing to do it by teleconference, and I keep trying to put him off until we get back in, because it's hard enough to do teleconference. But that's that's where it sits now. And I know that Ivan worked with him at the clinic. They did it over at the clinic, and so that kind of updates you on that conversation.
Yeah, good point. Kelly, go ahead, sir.
This is Clint speaking, and wearing my hat as president of Dark Skies. We can probably beat whatever they're going to charge you, because Dark Skies, you know, we have quite a bit of money. We can probably replace all those lights for you for free.
Yeah, that's a great point, and one I hadn't thought of. I sent out the email string from the very beginning from this Joseph Hurla from ROI. You know, obviously it's their business. I mean, that's what they were trying to do, is just go around the counties and drum up business. And Kelly's exactly right. You know, he's been after us to set up a workshop. He's estimated 30 minutes. Well, I'm not at all interested in spending 30 minutes on a teleconference listening to a sales pitch. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be willing to do that in a workshop at some point in the future. Other discussion?
You got something, Jay? I got another question to ask.
Well, I was just going to suggest, if I may, I was just going to suggest that we table this for the time being. I don't think the timing is right in the environment of the country and the county. We have more pressing issues at this point. I think it's probably a very good thing to do down the road. I'm just not willing to deal with it right now.
That was my question. I don't know what the urgency is, other than he's trying to make a living, I believe. And we don't know enough yet about the cost, actually. And Clint brought up a good point. And then the other thing is, I'm not so sure what the future of LEDs are. I know there's a future. I just know they're being modified. We don't want to have to replace them twice.
Well, I guess my comment would be, I would assume whatever they did or anyone else, they used the most recent version of LED lights, and that's what we'd have to go with. But I really appreciate Clint's suggestion that at least maybe we give consideration to allow Dark Skies the opportunity to look into this as well.
Absolutely.
Chair, we entertain a motion to whatever effect, gentlemen, including postpone.
I think you have to table it, Clint, or Jay. How do you want to word that? You want to put a time frame on it?
Well, no. I don't even know it needs a motion, but if the chair feels we can table it. I mean, it's just been here for consideration. You know, I don't see any reason why we need to make a vote. You know, when the time comes, Clint can bring it back up to us, and we can, or we can bring it up to Clint with his other hat on, and decide at that time how we want to move forward and get other bids or whatever. But I'm just not willing to deal with it right now.
And I agree. Also, we probably need to get clarification from Clint that the Dark Skies normally deals with exterior lights. Do you do interiors too?
No, it's just outdoor lighting that we take care of to protect the Dark Skies.
Okay, so you got part of this gig. The other part's interior.
Yeah, that's a great point, Commissioner Kanda. I think we converted the majority of the exterior lighting to LED already, haven't we, Clint?
I think so. We paid to switch out I'm not sure about the parking lot back there, but I know all the other lights on the building were switched out.
Yeah, the parking lot on the east side has been done.
Okay, then I think we've already taken care of as much as we can pay for.
And as just a point of information, the motion to table would specify a time and typically is only used to make room on the agenda for something more urgent. So I don't believe tabling is appropriate, but you certainly could postpone, or we could take no action. That's for the commissioners.
I think take no action.
Hearing no action?
Yes.
You want that as a motion?
No, you don't want any action, I have to ask twice. Is there any action pertaining to this item of business? If not, we will move forward. Okay, we'll take a position of no action on the energy request from ROI. And I will.
If I could just add one last comment. I think this is work that should be done. I'm just not ready to deal with it now.
Yeah, your point's well taken. I agree. Okay, we will move on. The next item of business, consideration of scheduling a workshop for the Economic Development Corporation MOU discussion. Gentlemen, do you have a date in mind? I can tell you that Mr. Vogel indicated mid to late next week would work best for their group.
I thought is that one of the things we thought we would do on Friday? I can't remember. We did so many.
No, it is
This
not.
is a workshop. Yeah, not a special meeting.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Can I recommend the 24th, Friday the 24th?
Okay, let me run that by Mr. Vogel.
That would be okay with us.
And our policy group meetings are Mondays and Thursdays, correct?
That's why, yeah.
And if Meredith's still on, your other group, in a second, I'll try to look the name up. Are they meeting on Tuesday and Fridays?
This is Alyssa. The stakeholder group is meeting at 1:30 on Friday.
On Friday. Okay. Do you have a time to suggest, Mr. Prince?
No, but 9 o'clock seems to be a time that we often use, so I would feel comfortable with 9 o'clock. If that's okay with you folks. But I'm open. It doesn't really matter.
Certainly, I'm fine with it. Mr. Vogel? 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock be fine.
Chair would entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll move that we establish a workshop with the CCEDC at 9 o'clock on, let me get my calendar back up.
17th?
Friday the 24th.
On the 24th.
24th.
Yes, you're right.
24th at 9 a.m.
I'll second the motion. Been moved and seconded to schedule a workshop, BOCC workshop with the Economic Development Corporation at 9 a.m. on April the 24th. Discussion. I have a question for Mr. Vogel.
Shoot.
Would you anticipate to be on that conference call?
The intent is indicated on our attachment. We obviously would like to have the necessary BOCC staff, for purposes of bringing everybody up to speed on what the task ahead of us is. We would suggest the half a dozen or so, or at least representatives of the half a dozen or so, the 6 functions that we will have to have some support from the county.
Okay, I'm pulling up that list now. Give me just a second. Gentlemen, you're aware of what you're speaking to.
Bring me up to speed, please.
Negative.
Okay, give me a minute. Again, I've got to close down and open up.
I've got it, Chairman, if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead and read that list. Thank you. I can get it, but it takes a second.
What the suggestion was, the addition was the Custer County should provide, in addition to BOC administrative support, the following functional department items. Finance and Human Resources would be involved with funds receipt, disbursement, tracking, and reporting. Planning and Zoning Department could very well be involved with permits, variances and maps. Road and bridge could be involved in driveway access permits, the assessor's department, property ownership identification, the surveyor, possibly drawing review if as needed, and information technology, GIS, website support.
Okay. And do you think those folks need to be on that call at the workshop?
That's our suggestion, just so that they'll have our intent is to show and relate in detail the preparation that we've done so far and the task ahead of us, and to the extent that they would be involved in certain aspects of it, representation of those functions would seem appropriate.
I agree with Charles, and Jake.
And if we missed anybody, we're open for suggestions.
Okay.
How about the Subway sandwich shop? We're going to need it.
If you've got budget for it, do they deliver countywide?
Not yet.
And we will host the meeting using Zoom.
Okay. And you'll provide that information to the appropriate folks.
We'll provide the login information, yes.
Attorney Smith, I have a question for you. Clint, are you still on?
I'm sorry, I muted it. I thought it was unmuting. I'm here.
That's okay. I've done it twice today myself. So I guess my question is this. It's a BOCC workshop. Should we be hosting that, or is it okay for the Economic Development Corporation to host that?
I don't really think they're hosting it. They're just setting up the mechanism for the meeting. It's still a BOCC workshop, and it's going to be done the same way. All the information needs to be published 24 hours ahead of time, including how everybody can listen in or whatever they need in order to participate through Zoom.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
So restate that because it was garbled here on my side, but I understood you to say that because it's Zoom, the public will have access to how to get into it with the right code number. Is that what you said, Clint?
Yeah, we'll need to have that posted 24 hours ahead of the actual workshop so the public can participate.
You bet.
Right. And Charles, if you'll provide that information to Vernon, he can post it up and send an email to the commissioners and whoever else we have on that list.
Will do.
I was thinking if we could get that early in the week, then I can send an email to all those folks and invite them to set in on that. I hate to do it late unless I send them an email and just say, hey, we're asking you to set in on it, and we'll get you the information at a later date. I can do that as well.
We should be able to get that to you within the next 24 hours.
Okay, that'd be super. Okay.
And I think the presentation will be hosted by, we'll use PowerPoint for anybody who has, computer dialogue, but we can also provide email copies for any that might not have that service available.
Okay, thank you.
Opportunity will be able to either come in with a visual on the internet or by phone, less desirable. But we can provide hard copy that can be printed off for those that don't have the benefit of the visual.
Okay. Vernon, are you on?
Alex is on.
I'm sorry, I said it again.
That's okay. I was on a Zoom conference the other day. The settings on my commissioner computer are not accurate, so I might drop this by and and see if we can correct that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can take a look at that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Zoom is also highly dependent upon bandwidth. So if your internet at home is slow, it's going to be problematic.
Yeah, it's an internal setting on the identification of this piece of hardware.
Understood.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Public comment? Charles, I guess the question, I'm not even sure how to ask it accurately. We're going to discuss the MOU, correct? Not necessarily the entire broadband implementation plan.
No, more the latter, because the possibility that collectively we might come up with issues that might need to be added to the MOU.
Okay.
The host has joined the conference.
I think we need to be mindful that it's a BOCC workshop for the express purpose of discussing this MOU, and so it doesn't mean we can't have other discussions, but certainly that needs to be the driving force of the workshop, from my opinion.
I want to chime in on that because you're 100% right. This is actually a straw man model too, because we're going to implement this across the board with other contractors in effect. So we want to make sure that we get things ironed out initially on the actual process that we're trying to get going from an acquisition point of view, from the county point of view. So we'll see how it goes. They may have to limit it a bit, Charles, but let's...
Well, and that was a question, too, I had. How much time do we need to scale the presentation to?
Well, my opinion, Charles, is, that's the express purpose for this workshop. We're not going to have anything else on the agenda that I'm aware of. So I guess I would ask, how much do you think you need, and then we can respond to that.
I think, depending upon the questions and such, the minimum time will be 2 hours. We might suggest an adjustment at that point, is because really we're going to have to adapt the information to the format. So it's and that's why we asked for a week of head start before we had the workshop.
Yeah, no, I get it. And probably if the presentation is half hour, 45 minutes or something, then that leaves us that much time for discussion and fine tuning and whatever. So I think that's reasonable. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I agree. Just be ready to tailor it depending on how the time goes. But we need to accomplish what we set out to do. We've got a draft MOU that, from our point of view, is perfect. So you got to tell us why it's not.
Well, you should have a copy of the suggested changes.
Yeah.
Actually, a number of them are just additions and corrections. But the whole idea was to not have any surprises amongst any of us, and the supporting functions too that haven't been involved in any of the discussions we've had to date.
Yeah, I think
we got.
I would always have a problem trying to limit a meeting before we get into the meeting, the time, especially something like this where it's a single item agenda. So we'll just have to see where it goes. If it takes longer than 2 hours, it takes longer than 2 hours. If we can get it done sooner, we get it done sooner. We just need to accomplish what we need to do.
Well, I just, again, wanted to have clarity. As much as we've done, even the discussions that we've had with the BOCC, haven't been complete and such like that. So we want to be sure that we've got a firm understanding at this stage of the game as we go into this effort.
Right.
I concur.
Yeah. Charles, kind of a random thought. struck me the minute I read your suggestions and changes. So I'll just throw it out, give you some time to process it a little bit before our meeting on the 24th. Surveying, driveway accesses, culverts, all that. I'm assuming all that would be paid for out of the grant. The county might can do the work, but I would assume the payments will be made from the grant. But that's a conversation we can have when it's appropriate.
Well, at the condition of the detailed work will be done within the contracts of the engineering companies. It's a matter of coordination and being sure that we resolve any necessary internal support for those as we progress.
Right, I understand that. I'm not concerned who does the work. I'm concerned who's going to pay to have that work done. And my opinion is it should be the grant.
Okay, there's nothing in the estimated cost that would reimburse county functions for the cost that they might incur.
Right, I'm not talking about reimbursement. I'm talking about the grant paying for surveying, the grant paying for culverts, the grant paying for road work, whatever it is connected to the tower project. My assumption was the grant would pay for that, not the county.
True. But the fact that we want to assure that what we come up with the contracted sources, comply with county requirements.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anything else, gentlemen, before we vote on the workshop?
I would, as a matter of discussion, thank you for timely considering the fact that we know we've got to go ahead from DOLA. Obviously, the quicker we can get this behind us, the better. We have initiated the discussions with the contractor community almost as we've spoken today, such that we can minimize, because we're really the time frame on this particular function, it's critical as to being able to get it completed so that we can subsequently complete the EDA grant request for consideration, possibly by using end of the year money. So thank you for being able to have the workshop as early as we have requested.
You're welcome.
Okay, Charles. One word of caution, and it was in the memo when we sent it. You got to be careful. We cannot spend any. I will not. We cannot allow any grant money being spent until we coordinate it and make sure we're not in it. And we want to dovetail this in with the broadband fiber program as well. And we're going to set up a meeting at some point with you all and the Carmel guys and towns and the county commissioners as well. So just be looking forward to that one following this work.
Well, I would, again, we're on a tighter schedule than what I'm aware of on these other functions, so please be sensitive to.
Yeah, we are. I understand that, but we're a tighter schedule. And if it negates the ability to execute the other part of this program, we're looking at it as a broadband program entirely for the county in the big scheme of things, both fiber and towers. And so we're not going to allow anything to jeopardize that other program, period.
Can I interject something, please?
Go ahead, Sue.
Thank you. Bill, I think your point's well taken. Don't spend any money until it's authorized. I think the rest of these conversations probably ought to take place in the workshop.
Roger that.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Any other coordinations, both between the county and CCEDC and anything else, we would hope to be part of this workshop.
Good.
Okay. Good. Further discussion? Any other public comment? We'll proceed to vote on hosting the workshop on April 24th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jay, you first. I was first. Aye. No problem.
Aye. And so, motion carries. We will have a BOCC workshop with Economic Development Corporation at 9 o'clock on April the 24th. That will be a Zoom conference hosted or set up by the CCEDC, and that information will be forthcoming as soon as possible. Okay, thank you, Charles. Dale, appreciate that. Thanks for being on this morning. You're welcome to stay if you'd like.
Thank you.
We'll move on. The next item of business, consideration of an order to publish the Model Traffic Code Notice of Hearing. Gentlemen, I think you have that document.
I do. Got it. Would you entertain a motion at this time?
I would, yes, sir, and then we can work out the details.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and move that we publish the Model Traffic Code hearing, notice of hearing as recommended by council.
I'll second the motion.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
It's been moved and seconded.
Glenn has an issue.
All right, hold on, gentlemen. Let me finish my job, please. We'll get to discussion in the appropriate time. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the publishing of the notice of hearing for the MTC, the Model Traffic Code. Discussion.
Okay, this is Clint, and as I stated in my attorney items, Mike Halpin had asked that we update the Model Traffic Code. All of the counties and the municipalities in the state of Colorado, I think all of them, subscribe to this Model Traffic Code, which was issued by the Colorado Department of Transportation and is periodically updated. I said the one we're operating under now was from 2009, and I was wrong. That's 2011. There have been a couple of revisions since then, but it's time to update again. And the procedure to do this is all spelled out by CDOT, which requires publishing a notice ahead of time, 2 times prior to the actual first reading of the proposed ordinance. So actually, what we're asking, I guess I'm asking you to do today is to ratify what Kelly already did at my direction, because in order to get it on the agenda for May 5, it had to be published 15 days before the first reading, and again 8 days before the first reading. So that meant getting it into our the newspaper that handles our legal publications by tomorrow for the first publication, and again next Thursday, the 23rd, for the second publication of the notice. So she did that, and the request today is to ratify that so we can have the first reading on May 5 and then do the second and final reading on May 20.
Okay. Commissioner Prince, would you care to withdraw your motion and restate a motion?
I will, Mr. Chairman. I request I rescind my original motion. Do you need, I think it was second, do you need to?
Yes, I seconded it, yes.
Okay.
Moved and seconded to withdraw the motion. It's been restated, so we do have to vote on it. All in favor of withdrawal, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion is withdrawn. Chair would entertain a motion to ratify.
I'll move that we ratify the publishing of the Model Traffic Code in the paper of record.
It's a notice of hearing, Jay.
Notice of hearing. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you clarifying that.
I'll second it. We moved and seconded to ratify the publishing of the notice of hearing for the 2020 Model Traffic Code into the public, or to the record, paper of record, I'm sorry. Discussion? Kelly, you're okay? We're up to speed? We're good?
Yep, I'm good.
One other thing is, I'm sorry, Tom, one other thing is that the directions from CDOT required that we have 3 physical copies of the model traffic code available in Kelly's office prior to the first notice. So, and she's done that. She's also had Vernon put this online, the model traffic code, since nobody can come into her office and actually read the physical documents.
Would you care to share how many pages that is?
It's over 200 pages, so that was
216.
216 times 3.
Mm-hmm.
Did we send CDOT a bill for the copying?
Yeah.
I had asked Mike Halpin if CDOT would provide copies, and apparently they don't. So it's your dime per dollar.
And Kelly, will you share the distribution of those copies once we get up and running?
Yeah, so I hated to print 3 copies and then just toss them, but in the end, I have to keep one on file here permanently. Mike Halpin said he would take one for the court, and Shannon Byerly said he would take the 3rd one, so they won't be wasted.
Good.
Well, there does have to be. I'm sorry. There does have to be 3, and once the ordinance, this is ordinance 20-02, proposed ordinance that we're talking about. Once, and if it is approved and adopted on second reading, then there's a certification page that has to be submitted to the CDOT, and then they give us the authorization to go ahead after that. So it doesn't go into effect upon second reading. It doesn't go into effect until we get the final approval from CDOT.
Right. Okay. So the document I have in front of me, the notice of hearing, has some blanks in it. So we haven't gotten to the vote on ratification yet, but assuming it passes, then what date are we sticking in here? The date that it was set to publish, or?
Kelly has already filled that in. The date of the first reading, May 5, she plugged into that space, and then down below where she signed, she put in the date, first publication or first of the notice on April 16, and the second one on April 23.
Okay, I wonder then if Kelly could send us the finalized version if we vote to ratify.
Yes, I can do that.
All right, thank you. Further discussion? Public comment? Yeah, I was just going to say, Clint brought up a good point during our discussion this last week over this. This has also been, I don't know how many versions and discussions back and forth, but I really appreciate it when Clint said, you know, in this day and age, man, we got to get it right. We got to jump through the right hoops, because this could end up in a court case and say, wait a minute, they never handled this model traffic code appropriately in the first place, so you can't hold me to it, drunken driving, manslaughter charge, or whatever it might be. So I really appreciated that input.
Good point.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, hearing no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of ratifying Ms. Kelly publishing the notice of hearing for the Model Traffic Code 2020, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Kelly and Clint. That put some work involved, and to Mike Halpin as well. He was right in the middle of that. Okay. We'll move on. Next item of business, consideration of canceling the May 6th EOCC meeting. I'm going to move that we cancel that meeting for May 6th at 9 o'clock.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to cancel the May 6th EOCC BOCC meeting discussion. Again, I think it follows the same thing with the 7th and 8th meeting. Generally speaking, a lot of staff reports, and I'll reach out to those staff that do need to report to us for signatures and have them do that on the 5th if this motion passes.
Okay, let's call a question. Good.
In all respects, sir, I have to allow public comment by our agreement.
I'm sorry, I forgot about the public comment.
Any further discussion from the commissioners?
No, sir.
Public comment. Go ahead. Public comment. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of canceling the May 6th BOCC meeting, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That meeting will be canceled, and I will notify those staff reports that we need to sign to ask them to provide those to us on the 5th. Does that work for you, gentlemen?
I'm good with that. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Mayor, go ahead.
Any additional items come before the board?
Are we considering the airport lot vacation?
Airport?
Oh, good point. Maybe I'm not on the most current agenda item. Kara, was that on the agenda?
It's on mine.
It is. On mine.
I'm on a second or older version of the agenda. My apologies. So what did
Let
your
me-
agenda say?
Let me talk to it, and then we can make a motion.
What did your agenda say?
Oh, it says consideration of approving airport lot line vacation.
And
Okay, thank you.
it's
That's not correct. It's not a vacation.
right. It's an adjustment.
That's exactly what it says, so correct it.
I know, but it's just a miss. It's not an accurate description of what the motion is, what the agenda item is. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, the accurate description is to redraw the boundary lines. The airport lot line redraw proposal.
Right, redraw, not vacate. That's my point.
Actually,
Yeah, that's what. Go ahead, Kelly. What it is.
Jackie told me that it's an adjustment, a lot line adjustment.
Right. Yep.
Okay. That's right in the word.
Or Lynn Degree will be all over it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
What's your pleasure?
I move we accept and approve the lot line adjustment as proposed.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the lot line adjustment on lot 5 and 6. Bill, I'll add those wordings if that's okay with you.
Yes.
All right.
Even though that wasn't on the proposal side, that's what it is.
Correct. Discussion.
Yes, sir. I have a question, if I may, please.
Go ahead.
Why are we doing this?
Okay, let me.
Go ahead, Bill.
Well,
That'd be
you
fine.
can go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I'm looking
Want me
at
to
the
do it?
drawing. I just didn't understand
Yeah.
why we're doing this.
Right.
Hey,
I
what-
defer
what
to
is-
Krista Kent.
Okay, Jay, what it is pretty simple. Is a movement to add an additional 2,700 square feet to the building to accommodate both aircraft, and it conforms to the airport's strategic plan and development of where the hangars ought to be and how big they are. It conforms with what the details that Jackie has put forward and the board has adopted. And it allows the airplane that Brian Anderson, which is a big airplane, to fit into the hangar lot that exists. It's a good deal. It increases the revenue because another person's involved, and it increases our airport
Okay, just one last question, if I may, please. I'm looking at the, it kind of looks like a memo where it has approved or denied by the airport board. Have they voted already, or is this waiting?
No, they have not.
For our approval before they do? Okay, that's fine.
Well, they may have voted to send it to the commissioners, yes.
Got it.
Yeah, they did do that.
Yeah.
I have no issue with this.
As a point of accuracy, I guess, Mr. Kennedy, you mentioned that it adds square footage to the building. We're not talking about buildings here today, correct? We are talking about the ground lease square footage. What they do with
Yeah,
buildings
that's what
their business.
It's the footprint of the lots are increased.
Correct.
Increased in another piece. That's correct.
Yeah, and according to Brian Anderson's calculations, county is set to gain an additional $180 a year.
That's correct.
This is Clint. I haven't seen any paperwork on this. Did Jackie Hobby sign off on this? Has the planning and zoning department approved it?
She did. She sent the package to us.
She hasn't signed anything, but she did send a package. There's been no.
I mean, on a lot of these routine things, she just, approves it herself or submits it to you. It doesn't require the planning commission to be involved in it, but I just wanted to be sure, because I haven't seen anything, but as long as she's on board with this, then I guess that's okay from a legal point of view.
She was working with in detail, Clint.
Kelly,
was there any
notice to Clint?
I was just asking if there was any fee involved in submitting the formal paperwork to make this request. That's normally how it's done through her office.
I'm not aware of any fee discussion, no.
I don't think there is required.
If she submitted to you, then she's satisfied that everything's okay as far as her office is concerned.
Right. Yeah, Clint, there's 5 signature lines, 2 leasees, the chairman of the airport board, planning and zoning office, and the BOCC.
Okay. I'll assume Jackie's on board with it then.
Yes, correct assumption.
All right.
Further discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the lot line adjustment for lots 5 and 6 at the airport, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. That request has been approved. Clint, do you want Kelly to send you those documents? We'll have to give him a minute to unmute.
Well, I was talking away to my phone. Yeah, Kelly, if you could just send me that so I can look it over. I'm sure everything's fine, but I'd like to look at it.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
All right,
thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it. Okay, let me get out of that document. Any other items of business?
I have 2, sir. Just really questions. Is Road and Bridge back to work? I know there was some discussion about that.
Yes, they are.
Okay, good. And the second is, you prepared a letter from the BOCC complimenting our public health nurse in our Office of Emergency Management. I found it excellent. I support it, and I'd like to know what we need to do to get this out.
Okay. I know what I got goofed up on my agendas. I had an agenda saved under the wrong name, and I deleted it. And it was actually the agenda that had that stuff on it. So my apologies for that. Yeah, I submitted that letter for your consideration. Is it on the agenda that we're operating under today? I'm sorry, I'm not on that agenda. I'm looking for it right now.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I would suggest let's put it on for Friday, and we can discuss it and hopefully approve it.
I was going to suggest that also, in light of how we approved the resolution, it makes it easier to edit that letter. So we need to discuss the content of the letter.
Okay. Give me just a second, gentlemen. Yeah, that was my mistake. I meant to bring that up under the commissioner items. So, my apologies, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm okay with putting that on the agenda for Friday. I wouldn't have a problem having a quick discussion right now if you think there's something that needs to be dealt with substantially. Then we can have that.
I don't think we need to discuss it now. We need to take a look and if Clint or if even Clint and Jay, if you have comments, we need to get together and we can massage it late on Friday.
Okay. All right. Let me add that to that list. So I will put down consideration of posting that letter. That will be the wording. Okay. So before we adjourn or go to public comment, then I want to ask. So I've got the RFP for the landfill, the Justice Center RFP, posting of recordings on workshops, the Economic Recovery Task Force, and then the consideration of the proposed letter from the BOCC. Anything else, gentlemen, you're aware of or could think of that need to go on that agenda? We have until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to make any changes. Kara, are you on board?
Yes.
Okay. So, did you get those, or you want me to send those to you in an email?
Can you send them to me in an email? I was trying to type as you were writing.
No, that's fine. I'll just hammer out an email for you. Gentlemen, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that agenda?
I can't think of anything at the moment.
No.
All right, good. So we'll move forward. Any other public comments come before the commissioners at this time?
This is Jackie.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Clint that I meant to ask during the workshop, but you had to leave early, and then I finally realized I was supposed to ask. Clint, are the local orders from the Public Health Department enforceable?
Well, I give legal opinions to the commissioners, not to the public, but I can state generally that there's a lot of disagreement on this. There are some counties where they are actually arresting people and charging them with violations. We haven't had to do that yet here because Alyssa has done a great job of reasoning with people and persuading them to comply, and I hope that's the way it will go. I mean, if we had a situation where everything else has failed, I would discuss it with the commissioners first, but I think we would have to take some sort of legal action and let it get sorted out later as to what the extent of how much these orders are enforceable, because there's some lawsuits pending already on it in other jurisdictions.
Well, also let me add, Clint, you also pointed out that it depends on what the order says. If it suggests, recommends, and encourages, they're not. That was your opinion.
Well, all the public health orders have pretty much tracked exactly what Governor Polis entered.
That's right.
With the penalty provision at the end about fines and jail sentences. So like I said, the jury literally is still out on this if, when it comes down to legal challenge to it.
But this is a matter for the Public Health Board now, so that's something we would have to consider and work these kinds of things out.
If Alyssa has a situation, and I hope she doesn't, where she feels that some kind of legal action is going to be necessary, then she should present it to the Board of Health, and I would probably prefer to give my legal opinion on it at that time in an executive session to the Board of Health.
That's right. And what Jackie would take up then.
Further public comment? Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. To adjourn. Jay, you can second it.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks, everybody.